What's up, everybody? King Triple C here, the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world. Anyhow, you guys stay tuned, and you guys don't forget to hit up Artem MMA Analysis on YouTube. Because if you don't, you guys can all do me a favor and bend the knee to King Triple C.
Alright guys, Artem MMA Analysis here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be honest, this is going to be a bit of a rushed video. I've had a really busy week this week, just working and other stuff like that. So unfortunately, I haven't done the most research on the card. Before I start the video, I will be honest with you, and I will say that. But yeah, I'm still gonna do my best to try and help you guys out. So Charlie Ontiveros in his last fight actually fought at 185. This fight is taking place at 155. He's fighting Steve Garcia, but the scary thing about Charlie Ontiveros' record is all of his losses are by KO. I know that the loss to Kevin Holland is technically a submission loss, but all of his losses are pretty much by KO, TKO, man. It's not really the best look. And considering that he's going to be fighting UFC level guys now that he's in the UFC, all of his losses by KO is pretty scary. He is a very flashy striker, though. He uses a pretty decent height and reach for the lightweight division, but Steve Garcia, I mean, I wouldn't really put him this big of a favorite. He lost to Luis Pena. Luis Pena pretty much dominated him on the ground, and prior to that, he was fighting over at LFA, where he has a few KO wins. And yeah, man, I just think Steve Garcia is going to knock Charlie Ontiveros out. He hasn't shown much durability in his career, and it's kind of scary, man. Especially 7 losses, 6 by KO officially, 1 by submission, but in reality all 7 of them are kind of by KO. I've got Garcia, I've got him inside the distance. Charlie Ontiveros, man, hopefully you can get a win and stay in the UFC, but I just don't really see it happening. On the other hand, we've got Lupita Godinez fighting Sylvana Gomez Juarez, and Lupita Godinez, I was actually really excited for her debut when she fought Jessica Penne. She lost that fight. I thought that she won, I'm going to be honest, but she didn't really look amazing in that fight, or as good as I thought that she would. But now she's got a good opportunity to now fight a decent opponent, fighting on like 3 days short notice here. And Sylvana Gomez Juarez, she's 36 years old, sorry. She's pretty old, especially for a woman's strawweight, but she's got a nice record, man. She has beaten not really the best people in the world. She's got a loss to Ariane Lipski. I guess that doesn't really look too bad. Ariane Lipski's had an up and down career in the UFC. Lupita Godinez obviously has the win over Vanessa Demopoulos, who is in the UFC at the moment, and for that, just heaps of decision wins. I've got Lupita Godinez. By decision. I don't see her finishing Sylvana Gomez Juarez, and I think she's just going to win on the scorecards. Charles Rosa versus Damon Jackson. This is a fight which I think is pretty close, man. Half of me really wants to go with Charles Rosa. The other half really wants to go with Damon Jackson. I don't know if you guys follow the PFL page, but unfortunately for Damon Jackson, a really bad KO loss to Movlid Kobuliev has been going around when he was fighting for PFL, because obviously Movlid is now in the finals of the PFL. But aside from that, Damon Jackson has got a pretty good ground game, 18-4-1. That's a really good record. His last loss was by KO to Ilya Tuporia. Man, that wasn't a good KO. I mean, he got KO by Ilya Tuporia. Got KO pretty bad to Movlid Kobuliev. Charles Rosa, on the other hand, win-loss in the UFC. A couple of decent wins. A loss to Bryce Mitchell. I mean, that happens. A win over Manny Bermudez, pretty good. Kevin Aguilar, split decision win, not too bad. A loss to Derek Minner, but he has a win over Justin James by split decision. I like the ground game of Damon Jackson. I have him to win by decision or submission. It seems like the majority of the community have that as well, but I could see Charles Rosa potentially getting the win here, but I do like Damon Jackson in this one. And now we've got a fight. I would not put Alexander Romanov as big of a favorite as he is. I think Jared Vanderaa honestly has the better striking. I know that might sound crazy to say. I might know that be a really bad opinion. But Jared Vanderaa just last went to war with Justin Taffer, who I know his record is 4-3, but I rate him pretty highly. He's I think he fights out of Australia these days. But anyway, I like Justin Taffer. He's fighting Jared Vandeer is now fighting the undefeated Alexander Romanov, coming off a pretty controversial decision win over Juan Espino, and before that coming off a few submission victories in the UFC and elsewhere. So Jared Vandeer, on the other hand, obviously has that win over Justin Taffer. He got KO'd by Sergey Spivak. I mean, that kind of happens. I think Sergey Spivak is still in the top 15 of the heavyweight division, and before that he beat Harry Hunsucker in Dana White's Contender Series, who I think is actually fighting Justin Taffer next. And he beat a 64-31 Tony Lopez. That's pretty cracked. But yeah, man, I lost to Random Ferreira. I mean, that happens as well. But man, I've got Alexander Romanov. I've got Alexander Romanov by submission. But I know he's a bigger favorite than minus 400. I probably wouldn't really put him as big a favorite as he is. But I could be proven wrong. Obviously, I do have Alexander Romanov by submission in this fight here. Next fight, I've got Chris Gutierrez, and I have him to win by KO. So Chris Gutierrez last had a win over Andre Ewell about 7 months ago. He drew to Cody Dern. Before that, he won a leg kick TKO over Vince Morales, and has a couple of wins in the UFC before that, including over the undefeated at the time Ryan McDonald. On the other hand, Felipe Colares, win-loss, 10-2 record, pretty good. He beat Luke Sanders, who I think is either cut from the UFC or has retired. He lost to Montel Jackson. I mean, that kind of happens. He's got a win over Domingo Pilate. That's a pretty good win, to be fair. Lost to Gerardo de Freitas, and before that, he was winning over at Jungle Fight. I've got Chris Gutierrez, and I actually think that we will see a finish. I know recently he has been fighting... he's been fighting two decisions recently, but I think he could get the finish. This fight is going to be taking place at 135. Felipe Colares last fought at 145. Chris Gutierrez last fought at a catch weight of 140. So we'll see what happens here. I've got Gutierrez. I've got him inside the distance. Not many people do. But yeah, that's pretty good pick in my opinion. Phil Hawes. I am all over Phil Hawes in this fight over Deron Wynn. To be brutally honest, man, I don't really rate Phil Hawes as highly as the majority of people do, but Deron Wynn, he's got really good wrestling. He's 5'6" at this fight is going to be taking place at middleweight. He's a pretty small guy. He's a stocky guy. Yeah, man, I got Phil Hawes in this one, dude. I can't believe Deron Wynn is 5'6". I completely forgot that. That's kind of funny. No disrespect to one win though. He's got that win over Kyle Dalkaus, which actually looks kind of good, considering Kyle Dalkaus technically KO'd and submitted Kevin Holland in the last fight. And went over Nasruddin Imavov, KO'd Jacob Malkoon, and ground overhand right to ground and pounded a fella in Dana White's Contender Series. Before that, he was fighting over at Brave FC. Deron Wynn, on the other hand, he's got a couple of losses in the UFC. He lost to Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, that happens. Gerald Meerschaert's been looking really good recently. He lost to Darren Stewart. I guess that kind of happens. Darren Stewart's on a bit of a losing streak himself, though. And he's got a win over Antonio Arroyo. Before that, beat Eric Spicely and beat Tom Lawler, who recently fought... he recently fought someone that I recognise. But anyway, I've got Phil Hawes on this one. I do think he gets it done inside the distance, very likely by KO. If he gets it done, it will be by decision, but I'm pretty confident in Phil Hawes in this one. Now, this is a fight which... it's female MMA, guys, and it's a really young female MMA as well. The fight's taking place at 125, which maybe could potentially be in the favour of Maria Agapova. Man, I didn't actually make a pick of this fight before I started the video. You know what? I know that loss to Shayna Dobson looks so bad, and Sabina Mazo most recently lost to Alexis Davis, which isn't really the best loss either. Oh man, I really should have researched this one. I've got Agapova. I'm gonna be honest. Let's go with the underdog here. Alright, I haven't gone for an underdog all video. Let's go Maria Agapova by decision. I think the fight goes the distance. Not confident at all whatsoever. So don't take any stock in that pick whatsoever. Next one, I've got Matthias Lickalow, and I've got Matthias Lickalow inside the distance. Tim Elliott on a pretty decent win streak. Tim Elliott actually won the Ultimate Fighter. I want to say it was season 25, but I've actually forgotten which one it was. Season 24. Man, I was so close. And he actually almost submitted Demetrius Johnson in that fight, which was kind of crazy. Lost to my boy Ben Wen in New Zealand, and I watched that live. I really like Ben Wen. He hasn't fought in a very long time, though. But I am a fan of Ben Wen. I think he's fighting over at 1 at the moment. I'm getting super sidetracked, but that kind of happens, man. Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2019, but I think he's still training. I guess, oh well, whatever. Anyway, the point is I've got Matthias Lickalow. I think by KO or submission. I think he gets it done inside the distance. He did beat Manel Cup, in my opinion. And before that, he was fighting over at Brave FC, where he has a couple of wins. He has a loss to Dustin Ortiz in the UFC. And he went over Lewis Smoker in the UFC as well. Yeah, man, I just got Matthias Lickalow. I think he is going to get the job done. And he's going to get the job done inside the distance. No one agrees with me, though. Maybe there's some value there, but I'm not really looking to bet on this card, to be fair. Randy Brown versus Jared Gooden. I've got Randy Brown inside the distance. We'll see how he's got it. KO submission. Most people picking a decision. A lot of people on the KO side of Jared Gooden. Understandable. I got Randy Rude Boy Brown. He most recently submitted Alex Oliveira in his last fight. He's very, very long. 78-inch reach and a 6'3" height. Jared Gooden, on the other hand, has got the KO over Nicholas Stolze. He lost to Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Lost to Alan Jouban by decision as well. And before that, he's got a few finishes, but over not really the greatest competition in the world. But yeah, man, I've got Randy Rude Boy Brown on this one, man. I'm pretty confident as well. I think he's going to get the job done inside the distance. Next one, Marina Modriguez versus Mckenzie Dern. I like Marina Rodriguez's fighting style. She's actually very exciting. To be fair, this isn't actually a bad main event. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but I don't think this is a bad main event, to be brutally honest. But it's taking place at strawweight. Have we seen Marina Rodriguez fight in strawweight recently? I can't necessarily remember. Maybe she fought Carla Esparza at strawweight. Man, I really should have done a bit more research before this card. But I've got Mckenzie Darren, and I've got her by submission, and wow. So does everyone. Okay, I'm surprised. I thought a lot more people would be on the Rodriguez side. I think Rodriguez. The thing is, man, it's will Rodriguez knock her out or will Mckenzie Dern submit her? In my opinion, I've got Mckenzie Dern. I think she will submit her. I know her takedown offense is really bad. I know Marina Rodriguez takedown defense isn't that bad, but she's been fighting wrestlers mostly. So yeah, I've got Mckenzie Dern, and I've got her by submission. Once again, I apologize for the shortness of this video, but yeah, man, I just don't really have the time at the moment, unfortunately, to make these long videos for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully my picks aren't really that bad. Once again, I do apologize for the haste of the video.